guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about scar revision, so that's why I don't really have on any makeup, and also I'm going to be telling you how I got my scars, which is a very, very sensitive subject for me. So I'm really laying it all out there for you guys. I'm just going to be a little baby open book. And I really hope that this video comes across the way that it's supposed to, which is to hopefully help people and help somebody if you're struggling through anything. And we'll talk about that in a second. But I want to excuse my mess. I actually have work today, so I have girls coming here. But let's start off on a positive note about tattoo scar revision and how it's completely changed my life for the better. I was in Los Angeles and I had been through thousands of treatments. It felt like, realistically, probably 9, but very expensive treatments. Each are like, $500 and some $800, and just really, really hoping for something that would take away the scars on my arms, because like any girl, we're insecure, and any little tiny blemish or pore, anything like that, we get insecure about because we see all these girls in the magazines that are just so photoshopped. And I work in the industry and it's still hard for me to see, and I can't imagine how hard it is for somebody else who doesn't know all the tricks and tips and crazy alterations that they're doing, how hard it would be, because I know that and I still get insecure. And I had scars on my arms and I would always put makeup on them, and some of my friends didn't even know. The close ones really did, but just some acquaintances didn't really know why I was always wearing a t-shirt, or if I had a tank top on, my hair would be down and I would put in my clip-in extensions and wear a jacket in 90-degree heat. And it was to protect myself, because I didn't want people to come up and say, what is that on your arm? What is that? And I didn't like it. So I got tattoo revision, and I didn't think it could work, because if you look, which I don't know if you guys are going to be able to tell, I will post a photo, but this is with 2 treatments. I need about 2 more for it to be pretty close to perfect, but I had little tiny burn marks. This arm is worse. This arm is worse because I slept on this side, which I'll tell you guys about, but this one had a lot more burn marks and little tiny white spots. And what the tattoo revision did, because I had done Fraxel, Cosmoline, IPL, a birthmark laser, a stretch mark laser, another treatment of Fraxel, another treatment of Cosmoline, everything. When I tell you everything, I had tried it all and nothing worked. And then I met a girl, Jessica Canseco, in, what is the spa's name? Beauty Park in Santa Monica, and my facialist Shani Darden had said, listen, I called this girl, I think she can help you, which was the nicest thing. And Jessica brought me in, she did a consult, and she was like, listen, it's never going to be 100, which is something that I knew and I realized, but it will help. And it was just like a tattoo gun. So all they did was take the tattoo gun and stipple it in, and she mixes all these colors and added freckles, because I have freckles on my arm. And when I tell you, I cried. Like, after I healed, and for like a week you're like red and kind of puffy, but it wasn't that bad. Or sorry, 2 to 3 days of kind of puffy, and then like it just looks like little coffee grains because you're healing. I cried because it was like a new arm. And I came home and I was like, Logan, look at my arms. And he's like, sweetie, they look so much better and they look amazing. And I was so excited. And I think if you're suffering from any scarring, whether if it's like acne, birthmark, any scar whatsoever, I would highly recommend going to her. It is worth a trip. It is so worth a trip. And yes, I had to, buy my plane ticket and pay for the service, and it is not a cheap service. It is an expensive one. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm going to be very upfront with that. But the amount of confidence that I have from it, it is priceless. And as cheesy as that sounds, it changed my life. And I think, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I spent over $2,000, and I feel better about myself. And I had stopped looking at treatments because I was like, you know what? I'm at a point in my life. I'm happy. I love myself. And it is what it is. Like, these are battle wounds and they are what they are. But if you can and you can afford to and you can put money back, I would recommend it. And maybe you can find somebody locally that can do it cheaper, but I just know that she is the best in her field. She's the one that is like basically the person making this and doing this treatment for everybody, and it's so good. So I just wanted to say that just for a few minutes and give you a little heads up about tattoo revision is like the best thing that could have ever happened. And it wasn't painful. I didn't even do numbing cream. So, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of a badass when it comes to that. Now, this is the part that I'm probably gonna cry just a little bit. How did I get the scars? A lot of people were like, oh, sunspots, whatever. And I'm like, no. They were burn marks from an abusive relationship. I was married before. Some people may or may not know that. See, I have my Kleenexes ready to go, right? Or my toilet paper. I don't even have Kleenex right now. They're all in my kit. But I was married before. And I was very young. I was very naive, very young, and I believed in people. I still do. I don't want to say that because I truly, truly believe so much in people and still so much that people can change. But I got myself into a situation with somebody that was lively. You know, he was the life of the party. I'm not going to take that from him. And this video is not to bash him in any way, shape, or form, because like all people, good qualities and bad qualities, and he's just sick. He's a little sick, and he does need help, and I pray that one day he will find it. But if I can help any girl by saying my story and how I got out, then like that means more to me than anything in this world. So, oh, this sucks, I'm sorry. I got the scars from burn marks when I was sleeping because he would try to wake me up with a cigarette. And, you know, a lot of people, instant reaction, I'm sure probably some of you are, well, why didn't you just wake up? Like, why wouldn't you just wake up and leave? And the thing is if you lived in my shoes, if you woke up, you knew what that meant. And that meant 5 hours of fighting. It meant 8 hours of fighting. It meant me getting dragged down the staircase and shoved into the kitchen countertop, and it meant me having to call the cops in Los Angeles that never helped me at all. They never helped me. Oh, God. Oh, I told you this is not going to be easy for me to do. And it wasn't worth it. And in my mind, I was so young, and I was like, what's a couple of scars? I'll get over them. They're not going to be permanent. It's fine. It doesn't matter. I can't. I don't know if I wake up, if I'll survive the next 8 hours. Like, I just don't know how much somebody can take before you hit that breaking point. And it was just survival mode. And anybody that has ever been in an abusive relationship, you know that you do things to survive. And by me pretending to be asleep and fighting back the tears, I was surviving. And that was the most important to me. And whenever we first met, you know, he wasn't like that at all. And a lot of people right now might be saying, well, why didn't you just leave? Why didn't you get help? And I think what I want to reach out to girls that are in my position, or was in my position right now, because I've been there. I'm there with you. I understand. You love the person. You love the person more than yourself. And you think, if I just love a little bit more, like a little bit more, and I show them love that maybe they didn't have as a child, we'll get through this, and we'll get through this together, and we'll have this amazing love story of how I changed this person. And I am here to tell you that that is not how it happens. Like, it's not how it happens. You will get hurt, and you will be hurt, and the statistics are so against you. So if you're in that position, ask for help, leave. I didn't for a very long time. I did not ask for help. I was too ashamed. I was too, as much as I was ashamed, I was too prideful to let even my family know that I had made this decision and, moved off to LA and married this person that I believed in, that everybody kind of warned me about. And I was like, we have this beautiful house, and I can do this. I can fix this. And unfortunately, it probably stemmed from my dad. My dad was never around, and I had to fight for his love. I had to constantly fight for my father's love, and I felt like, well, I'll just meet another guy and I'll fight for his love, and I'll fight for it, and I'll fight for it, and I'll eventually win. And the only good male figure I had in my life was my grandfather. And people would always say, they don't make him like your papa anymore. They don't make him like that. So, and it's so true. They don't. But then I met Logan, and I know that they make him like that anymore. But at the time frame of that, all I heard was, they don't make him like that anymore. So in my mind, I was thinking, then they don't make him like my papa, and I'm never going to get treated that way. This is the best that it gets, and when he would burn me, he would say, I'm making you ugly. Nobody is ever going to love you. Nobody's ever going to do this to you. There's so many manipulations that happen in an abusive relationship, and you believe it. Like I did. I believed. I was like, he's right. He's the only person that loves me. He's the only person that can love me. I'm not lovable. Like my own dad, for Christ's sake, didn't really love me. So why should this stranger that I just met, like, yes, he's my husband, but why should he love me? And he is right. He's making me ugly, and nobody's ever gonna, this is it. This is my life. And I just kept thinking that. So I had to take a little bit of a, unclogging break. But yeah, I just kept thinking, it's never going to get any better. He's never going to love me. And I would hide from my friends. I would hide my feelings. I remember my friend Jessie was like, you've never told me that you love me, and her and her mom and her sister would always be like, love you, Jess. And I'd be like, thanks, guys. Bye. And I was so shut off because I was giving everything. I was giving everything that was inside of me to this man that I wanted to change more than anything in this world. I wanted to be a savior. I wanted to save somebody. And I didn't realize at the time that I was blocking people out. I wasn't that affectionate with my own family, for crying out loud. My own family, who loves me more than anything in this world. I would get weird if people hugged me. I couldn't accept love because I didn't think that I was worth it, because he had basically told me that I wasn't. So, but at the same time, he was also telling me that he loves me, and I'm sure you understand, like, he's telling you that he loves you, and he's telling you that he hates you at the same time, and nobody's gonna love you, and I'm the only person, and it's so back and forth. And like, I empathize and sympathize with you if you're going through that. And my friend Rachel and Milena and my friend Laura and Ashley, my cousin Ashley, my mom, they found out about it later on, my mom and my cousin, because I didn't want the family's shame. And my papa told me, no more divorces in this family. So I never wanted to let my papa down. ever. I was determined to make it work. And my friend Rachel would be like, "Friend, I think you blocked all this stuff out, and there's some things," and I'm like, I don't remember that. And I think I did block it out. And I remember my friend Laura came because I called the LAPD, and somehow I was in handcuffs and I did nothing wrong, and it was just because of who my husband was, and it was his house. That's it. That's how it worked in LA, and I lost faith in this system. So there would be times that I wouldn't even call, and he had a phone device that would turn off all cellular phones, so I couldn't even call for help. And I just remember a lot of the times, like after a punch to the stomach, I would be bleeding, and he would say to me, "You're never going to be able to have kids, and if you ever try to leave me, I'm making you so damaged that nobody will want you." And I believed him for so long. And I stayed, and I got cheated on, and I was abused, and I was shut off. And anybody that knows me, I'm a very loving person naturally, and he took that from me for a few years. He took it from me, and he didn't want me working. He put cameras in our house so he knew what I was doing. And I was just flesh living under a microscope of somebody that had so much control over me. And I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do. And in the meantime, I was raising money for him to go to a rehabilitation center. And I was giving him everything. And I was killing myself on the inside and on the outside, and I was losing weight. I was not healthy, and I would hide bruises, because you're ashamed that you're letting somebody do this to you, but at the same time you love this person, and you resent them and you hate them at the same time. And there's so many feelings, and nobody would understand that unless if you're in the position. And those of you that are, I get it. I get why you're not leaving. When I tell you, I 100% understand. I was there. You really don't think that it gets better, and you really don't think, how am I going to start over? I'm 25, 30, 40 years old. How in the world am I going to start over? And how will anybody love me after this? And how will I know that I won't fall into that same pattern? And there's so many questions. And my girlfriends, would get mad at me. "Jessica, leave. We're here for you. Leave, leave, leave." And I didn't want to be a failure. I didn't want to, everybody told me not to, and I didn't want to be the statistic that was like, "Well, your marriage failed," especially in Hollywood. Anybody in LA, your marriage lasts for like 2 years, and I didn't want to be that statistic. I didn't want to be the other statistic of, the girl that dies in an abusive relationship and loses her life because one time one punch was just a little too much. And I had a gun pulled out on me. I had a knife. My husband didn't even know who I was some nights, and he thought I was an intruder in the house. And I loved him through all of that. I never stopped believing in him until it just got so bad. And I was sitting at a house that I made us move into. Like, I made us move into a different house 20 minutes away, thinking that he could get away from the drugs and we would be fine. And I stopped working because I was like, well, if I don't work and I'm here for you, I'm now giving you actually all of me, and I was giving you all of me before, but now I'm 200%, and I can do this. And he went back out on the road, and I was sitting at home with a broken phone because he had broke my phone, so I couldn't call anybody. And I had a busted lip. My dog was scared of him. I had a puffy eye. I was bleeding from being hit in the stomach too much. And I saw a show, and it was a stupid show, and I had a baby and a mom, and I just thought to myself, like, how can I can't do this anymore. I can't. I have to get out, no matter what it takes. I have to get out of this because I want a family. I want a child. I want a baby more than anything in the world that I can love, with a husband that really loves me. And at that moment, I started putting back money anywhere in the house, and I started hiding it so he couldn't find it, and doing jobs and lying to him so I could do the jobs. And I felt bad about lying, but at the same time, I was surviving, and that's what I was doing. Just like I was pretending to be asleep, I was surviving, and I was still, I still realized I was also raising money for him. And I'll never forget, and I won't give up their names, because I would never want him to act out on them, because they have a family. But two of his friends said, Jessica, come over to our house. We want to give money. So I assumed it was for him. And I get over there, and they were like, listen, we can't save him, but we can save you. And I was too proud to ask for money from my parents, from my grandparents, and they would have given it to me 100%. They would have given it to me and got me a place to stay. But I was so embarrassed that I knew that if I got myself into this, I have to get myself out. I wouldn't take money from my friends or anybody because I wasn't working. I had devoted everything to this person. And they gave me a check for $5,000. And I told him, I can't take this. I can't take this. Like, I don't know when I could pay you back. It's a lot of money. And I don't know what you want me to do with it. They were like, Jessica, he's a lost cause. He has to want to get help. And we see you. You're young. You're talented. And we can save you. And if we can save one person in this relationship, it's you. And you can turn your life around. And when I tell you, I will never, ever forget what they did for me. Ever in a million years. They are the kindest people. And when I say they truly, truly saved my life. And they saved my life because I was too proud to ask for help. And if you're in my position, don't be too proud to ask for help, because you might not be as lucky as I was for somebody to see you struggling and to have that extra money to give you. You might not be that lucky. When I tell you, I know how lucky I am. I know that I'm so lucky in that. And it might have taken me another year to save the money to get out. LA is really expensive. It might have taken me 2 years. And when you're in an abusive relationship, they're so manipulative that I might have fell back into that trap. And I was lucky because I had 2 months of my ex being gone away, that I was able to start to rebuild everything that he tore down. And I went and I got me another apartment, and I told him that I was leaving and that I was filing for divorce. And he was so sick that he came back home, and he was like, ha ha ha, this is a game, I'll beat you to it. And abused me that night. Left the next day, and I went and stayed at friends until my apartment opened up. And I got stalked. He found out where I lived, and it wasn't easy. I had restraining orders against him, and the LAPD would just wave him away. And I would go to court, and he stole my car like 6 times, never got convicted of that. And Los Angeles is the worst system, but if you fight and you get out, you can get out. And if you're in an abusive relationship right now, ask a friend for help. There are so many sinners that will help you and provide a safety for you to where he can't get to you. My situation in a way was a little bit different because he had friends in the mafia, for crying out loud. Like, he literally had friends in the mafia that would come and threaten me and say, if you don't get back to him, this is going to be you. Nobody will recognize you. We'll beat you so bad. And at a certain point, I was tired of it. I was like, you know what? Like, I will fight this, and I'm going to survive because I'm worth it. I can do this on my own. I have come this far. My mom is a strong and single lady that raised me on her own without my father's help. My grandmother is super strong. She is the rock of our family. My papa is the strongest man I will ever meet, and I come from a line of really strong, tough people, and I can do this, and I'm going to rebuild my life, and I'm going to restart everything. And I did. And I moved into the apartment. I ate ramen noodles for like 2 years, I rebuilt my career. I was working for free again, or, doing makeup for $50. And, and it took me a few years, and I rebuilt my life, and it took a lot of time. But finally, my friends were starting to see me come back around, and I was loving, and I could say I love you. And I remember my friend Jess was like, you could say you love me now. You don't have to hide your bruises anymore. You can say you love me back. And I do, and now I'm like, I love you. And that's how I am. Anybody that knows me knows that I am a very loving person. And for somebody to take that away from me, and for me to let them take it away from me, it's shocking. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, what life did I lead? And I feel like I've led a life far more than I should have for my age. I'm 32, and I'm like, I feel like I've lived this whole other life, and it's crazy because I got blessed with the most loving and patient husband. And I asked him when we first started dating, I was like, are you sure you want me? Like, I have baggage, and I have issues, and I have trust issues. And it might not be easy with me. But he thought I was worth it. Somehow, beside all my craziness, he thought I was worth it. And he has shown me so much, like so much. He thinks that I opened his heart, and he has no idea how much he opened mine, because I thought I wasn't going to find love again. Or not again, but I just wasn't going to find it. And I just remember everybody would tell me, well, your ex loved you to the best of his ability. And I look back and I'm like, he might have, to the best of his ability, but his ability was like that. It was not a lot. And Logan loves me with every inch of his soul, every inch of his heart. And I don't have to worry with him. If we get into an argument, it's like a stupid argument. It's like, okay, babe, fine, whatever. Watch whatever you want on TV. I don't really care. It's stupid. It's not, and he saw firsthand, our first argument, I started to I got so defensive and so angry so fast at him, and I feel so bad about that. And I apologized to Logan about it, but thank God he understood my past, and I was so used to fighting. I was so used to just fighting and putting up this wall toward the end of my old relationship. I had a barrier. I was like Fort Knox. I was like, you can't hurt me. I am doing this, because I had to have such thick skin to survive that now if somebody yells at me, I'm like, my fists come up and I just put on this barrier. And that's not right either. And, he's helped me work through that. He's like, Jessica, I'm not going to hurt you. You don't need to be that way. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not here. I'm never going to hurt you. And he won't, and I know that. And I know now that if I have a daughter, I can show her, and she'll know, she'll learn from being around that her dad is a loving dad, and her mom is loving, and her mom was a fighter and a survivor. And I'm so thankful to be able to show that to my future children. And if you are an abused woman and you are watching this and you've made it through all 27 minutes of me rambling or 30 minutes of me rambling, go and get help. Don't sit here and look at me and say, well, I can't do what she did. I didn't have somebody give me money. Because if you don't have anybody give you money, somebody will fight for you. There are sinners that will fight for you. And somebody will give you money, and you can go stay with a friend. You can go back home. Don't ever be too ashamed like I was. I could have saved myself a lot of scars, literally a lot of scars and a lot of money, if I would have just sucked it up and not had too much pride and not been too concerned to worry, you know. And the hardest thing I think I ever did in my life was telling my papa that I was getting a divorce, because I didn't want to disappoint him. And you know what my papa said? It's about time. Because even though he didn't do anything, girls, he might have significantly hurt the person. He knew that I wasn't happy. I wasn't myself, and he knew that. And one of the reasons that I stuck around so long was to not disappoint my family, when in all reality they were more proud of me for leaving. And my cousin was so proud of me, and she's like, you're the strongest person I know. And, you know, and I look at her and I'm like, you're the strongest person I know. So yeah, just don't be scared to leave. And if you know somebody that needs help, you know, do what my friends did to me. They would, and I would get mad at them, but they'd be like, Jessica, you have a bruise on your chest. Your lip is busted. Stop saying you fell. Stop saying you ran into a wall. Leave. We will help you. Leave. Take their offer. And if you're the friend, get their ass out of that situation if you love them, because I promise the amount of physical abuse that they are dealing with is nothing to the mental abuse. I promise I can take a punch like nobody's business. I was like Mike Tyson. I can take it, you know. But the way that I was inside, the emotional way that I was broken, and it has taken years to heal. And I still have crazy dreams sometimes, and I have to sleep with the TV on because I have nightmares of my ex. And I want security on our house, and those are things that are not normal, and I have to constantly battle that. So I'm still healing. I am not all better, and I'm not here to be like, hey, look at me, I'm all better and I survived. I'm here to hopefully have one person leave an abusive relationship, because that is one life saved. And I have been in a long line my whole life just wanting to save somebody. And I felt like I failed at saving my dad. I failed at my ex, but maybe I won't fail at this. Maybe I'll save somebody. And I know my friends, if they're going to watch this, they're going to say, Jessica, you did all that you could. And I know that. And I know that now, and I'm content with that. But I just wanted to do this so you guys knew where my scars came from. You knew that I'm a real person. I'm not just like a beauty blogger that does makeup, you know. I'm insecure, and I've been through a lot, and I've survived, and I've found the love of my life that I am so thankful. I wake up now with a smile on my face instead of a tear, and that is worth every single penny. And you will find love. You will find love. You will find somebody that will not hurt you. And you'll think, how did I ever deal with that? And that's what I think. But I also think it made me who I am. And it made me be able to relate my story to you. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. Lord knows that my makeup is all over my face and I don't look so pretty right now. So in honor to make up to this, I will do a tutorial on beautiful makeup and beautiful hair, and we'll focus on that. But I did just want to be real with you guys and hopefully help somebody. So hope you enjoyed.